Ahmad's first summer internship marked an important milestone when he was introduced to Parita Patel.
When I told my parents I want to do engineering, it's not a typical thing for a girl to do, let alone an Indian girl. They were like, it's great, they were telling everybody. They were really proud of me, and that's not a typical response you'd have, but I think for them it was like, look, we've worked so hard for our kids to get somewhere, and finally they're getting somewhere. I run a team of about 15 people right now. We're responsible for 120,000 rail cars that are running around in the US. Ahmad likes to have conversations to learn, and some of that's the curiosity. So he likes to just sit and go talk to the engineers and just reel off like 100 questions to them just to help him build his learning and knowledge, and then he'll pick up on something and then go off and ask another set of questions. So one project he was working on was we had a new regulation come out in Canada for some of our tank cars that required thermographic inspection. If you found gaps in the lining in the car, you had to replace it. Now, this is foam lining, so you had to literally take off the panels on the car, replace the lining, and weld them back on, which can be pretty expensive and time-consuming. And so we talked about, was there an alternative foam you could develop that you could inject into the car that would go fill in the voids and meet the regulations?
Engineering is not only finding one solution at one piece at one time, but you have to constantly review until you come up with an actually solid product. I was really surprised actually when she would give me this whole push to actually work on a project that she would give to an engineer.
And so he went off and had a number of meetings with different engineers, looked into the regulation, what you would have needed to do to get a new material approved. He spoke to our coatings engineer, found other materials that were available but not approved yet, had conversations about what level of testing may be required. He did that all on his own. All we had was one comment in a staff meeting that this was a challenge and an issue. We'd have to come up with a solution. And you know, I had 15 engineers, and he was the one that took it on board to go and do all of this research and put everything together. That is the type of person I want on my team, and I'd hire him back in a heartbeat.
Coming up, Ahmad discovers that everything has a breaking point. Bringing his family back from the Middle East is Ahmad's driving force to succeed. And with his love for engineering and physics, Ahmad was ready for a new chapter in his education, which led him to visit IIT in Chicago.
When I went there to talk with the administration, the staff, the teachers, I found a very good atmosphere.
Settling into campus life, Ahmad was itching to dig deeper with his studies. And that's when he met Sheldon, a professor of mechanical engineering.
He had a different approach of teaching. He would come in, he would explain a little bit about the material, then he would give us experiences from actual real-life problems that he had.
Ships during the Second World War broke in two in the middle of the ocean because they weren't welded properly and they used the wrong material. Understanding materials is key to mechanical engineers. Ahmad would sit right up in front, so I get a chance to look him in the eye and bounce questions off of him, which he was more than eager to answer and to expound on. We talk about classes of materials, for example, metals, organics, and inorganics. Materials get their properties at the atomic level.
But Sheldon and his students are unsatisfied with theoretical ideas. In this class, they take concepts and put them to the test.
The labs have to do with a variety of different kinds of testing that you need to have done in order to understand the material. The most basic of these tests is a hardness test.
For this test in particular, students take assorted materials and test them with contrasting amounts of force.
Take a piece of metal that's been produced to a certain specification, you put it into a testing machine that has a big hammer on it. The hammer swings and bops it. You read what the hardness is on a dial gauge or with a microscope, and we read how much energy it took to do that. That energy is crucial. And you then determine whether it is in fact suitable for your manufacturing operation. We also do tests having to do with impact.
As materials react differently to impact at varying temperatures, students can explore how ductile or brittle each material is. That's when Ahmad gets to crack open the liquid nitrogen.
And that was a very unique thing, because the colder the part is, the more brittle it will be. And the warmer, of course, it will be more ductile. Knowing that concept and actually seeing that it's two different things.
Can we substitute aluminum for steel in this application? Can we substitute titanium in this application? Can we make this material out of plastics or composites rather than out of metal? Those are the sorts of questions that we deal with.
Focused and passionate about his studies, Ahmad became more involved at IIT. And at the career event he organized on campus, Ahmad met Tim Downey.
I actually met him at a function that his college IIT had, and we did a partnership and a tour and basically explaining who Greenlee is and manufacturing and what does the Rockford have to offer and so forth.
He was interested in me working for Greenlee, and I was really interested in working for Greenlee, honestly. Being the best at what they do, I mean, it speaks volumes. He offered me a position with value engineering, which is product improvement, seeing what's in the field, try to redesign it, try to find out better ways of improving the product that we have.
He was definitely driven. He had some key leadership capabilities. He's highly motivated and was willing to learn.
Greenlee Textron started in 1862 with barrel-making machines, then woodworking tools. Today, Greenlee is a trusted source for professional-grade tools when it comes to installing wire and cable. From hole making and bending to test and measurement, Greenlee's tools need to last and perform. Like a sponge, Ahmad soaked up all the knowledge he could at Greenlee. Wanting to give back, he kept his eyes open for an opportunity to contribute something big for the company.
Our portfolio is definitely diverse, so I mean, it's things like hole making that have been around for quite some time, and from our step bits and auger bits and things like that to some of our larger capital tools like bending and pulling, communication tools, voice data video tools, hydraulic tools like for cutting and crimping, hand tool line, test and measurement. So it's definitely a diverse portfolio, which definitely provides a lot of opportunities and also challenges because it's different channels with different customers and it's different commodities. Because of the vast different types of products and processes at Greenlee, it's very dynamic. Hydraulic tools are significantly different than test and measurement, different than hole making. So the product depth processes involved, for those products and the culture with Greenlee, it has a small company family feel with the opportunities, not only within Greenlee, but in Textron that are hard to come by.
They teach you leadership, risk management, managing change, how to work with teams and utilize your experience.
He went on a plant tour of one of our facilities that has heat treat operations. And as soon as he saw that heat treat operation, he came after the tour and he had a lot of questions, and questions that I couldn't necessarily answer, but said, hey, we can get together, with a group. Because what he saw, that heat that was dissipating equaled power. So he was thinking, is there a way to convert that into electricity and better utilize that?
Coming up, Ahmad seizes the opportunity to stand out. Growing up in the Middle East and moving to Chicago, Ahmad Khalil's life has been anything but easy. Driven to succeed, he's an intern at Greenlee Textron. And using his engineering mind, Ahmad is coming up with his own innovative solutions.
He had a lot of questions, and questions that, critically I couldn't necessarily answer, but said, hey, we can get together, with a group and so forth. Because what he saw is that heat in heat treat, the efficiencies, that heat that was dissipating equaled power. So he was thinking, is there a way to convert that into electricity and better utilize that? So he took the initiative to call the different meetings, do all the measurements, do all the analysis, just within, all right, how much, how efficient really is our heat treat operations? What is this opportunity? We got a chance to meet with a company that we could partner with to explore this in more depth. But he took all that initiative. I just kind of gave him the tools to say, here's who you need to get in contact with. And he took it and completely ran with it. So, that's a project that's underway right now that he definitely kicked off.
Resilience, curiosity, always wanting to find a better way. That's the crux of engineering, right?
I worked with a company called Pratt Whitney, where we designed a jet engine. And I was privileged enough to actually work on the F-135 engine, and I was a test engineer for them. Aerospace in general. It's the thing that inspired me to go into engineering. The next step would be looking for a full-time job right after where I start my career. I am aiming to be a director in an engineering company, to have a team of engineers where we work together to solve problems, design pieces, design parts, and actually produce into the world and say, this is what we're here to offer. You can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. So if I want to set my mind to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, I will do it.
And he is going to be very, very successful. I don't think anything can stop him. He's just terrific.
I have a lot of ambitions that I want to accomplish, hopes and dreams that I want to do.
As long as you put your mind to it and you have the right attitude, you can do anything.
I have a picture of my sister in my wallet, and every time I feel down or just one of those feelings that, I wanted my family around, I would just take it out and look at it and say, this is what I'm doing it for. Bringing my sisters and mother here to the U.S. For once in my life, I want to have a family that's put together right. That's not waiting on a father to come back or waiting on him to leave because the father's or can't control his emotions or his anger. So I wanted to build that family, and that's what keeps me pushing harder and harder. Every time I go for an interview, I look up, and before I walk into an interview, I look at my wallet and I see my sister and I say, this is what I'm doing it for. So I go in and I say, I already have that job. That job is mine. Nobody's gonna take it because I want it more than anyone, and I'm more dedicated to that job, and I will be. So I will go in with that mentality as in I am ready to take that job, and I do.
For Ahmad Khalil, this is his launch point.